Hello, and welcome to the world of Pokemon. My name's Professor Noki, and you're tuned in for the news with Noki on Noki Talks. Today we will be discussing the ongoing controversy regarding the exclusion of the national dex from the upcoming titles of Pokemon Sword and Shield, as well as the brand new information that we received regarding the upcoming mobile game Pokemon Masters. Outside of the Pokesphere, we'll be discussing the re-release of Marvel's Avengers Endgame, as well as speculation regarding the upcoming Black Widow movie that's set to release next year. First of all, for the update regarding the controversy surrounding the national dex in Pokemon Sword and Shield. As many of you probably know by now, Junichi Masuda from Game Freak has given an official response regarding the exclusion of the national dex. And to some people's disappointment, it does not really appear that Game Freak has any indication of wavering on this decision, as Junichi Masuda was quoted saying, "Thank you to all of our fans for caring so deeply about Pokemon. Recently, I shared the news that some Pokemon cannot be transferred to Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield. I've read all your comments and appreciate your love and passion for Pokemon. Just like all of you, we are passionate about Pokemon, and each and every one of them is very important to us. After so many years of developing the Pokemon video games, this was a very difficult decision for me. I'd like to make one thing clear. Even if a specific Pokemon is not available in Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield, that does not mean it will not appear in future games. The world of Pokemon continues to evolve. The Galar region offers new Pokemon to encounter, trainers to battle, and adventures to embark on. We are pouring our hearts into these games, and we hope you will look forward to joining us on this new journey." As it appears from his own words, this was not an easy decision for him or the other developers at Game Freak to make, and I'm sure that they spent countless hours debating on whether it was the right course of action to take. As it references in this quote, the Galar region is an immensely new experience that we have yet to uncover. There could be countless new aspects to this game that we as fans end up absolutely adoring. And it might even come down to the fact that the exclusion of these Pokemon won't end up making or breaking the game for most people. Now that doesn't mean I've changed my mind on how disappointed I may be when I find out that my favorite Pokemon didn't make the cut. However, as I've said from the beginning, that alone is not enough to sway my entire overall opinion of these games. And as Junichi Masuda points out, and I even brought up in my earlier discussion of this topic, most of these Pokemon that are being excluded will be highlighted in future games as well. And who knows, maybe because of this massive outcry from the fan base, they won't make a decision like this again. And future Pokemon games could very well have all the Pokemon returning. In my opinion, one of the most important lines in this quote, and one that I think a lot of fans really need to keep in mind, is that Game Freak has been working diligently, pouring everything they have into making these games as good as they can for fans. The exclusion of these Pokemon is not a matter of being lazy or trying to take things away from their fan base, but rather really trying to mix up the experience and highlight Pokemon that you otherwise would not pick, while also spending more time on other areas of the game to develop them in ways that many fans have been asking for also. And I'd really like to conclude the discussion of this topic today with reiterating a point that I have said over and over again, which is that we really don't even know which Pokemon will be excluded from the games. It really could end up being a trivial amount of Pokemon, and among those that many people don't already choose from. But only time is going to tell, and we may not actually find out for sure until the release of the games in November. So ultimately, I think patience is something that everybody should be practicing right now. Now on to the new information we received regarding the brand new game Pokemon Masters. I'm sure many of you have already experienced the hype and excitement that many other content creators have expressed here on YouTube, and honestly, I'm not really that much different from them in my stance of this game. I am so excited. To me, this game seems way more intriguing than Pokemon Go. And that's not to say anything bad about Pokemon Go, but from what it looks like, Pokemon Masters is a little bit more geared towards traditional players who, like me, grew up playing the original games. Now, the battle style in this game isn't entirely copy and paste from the core mainline RPG that we all love. However, it is a lot closer to that style than what we see in Pokemon Go's battle system. Not only that, but they truly played into nostalgia by bringing back a host of returning characters from previous games, maybe even all the characters from previous games. And it really looks like a fast-paced, exciting game to play. Even more exciting is that it comes out this summer still, to help bridge that gap before the release of Sword and Shield in November. I can definitely guarantee I will be downloading this game. And now on to Marvel. I'm sure you're all very much aware by now that Marvel decided to re-release the Avengers Endgame into theaters this past weekend. Not only was this an attempt by the studio to catch up to Avatar in the box office, but it also gave Marvel the opportunity to include some things into the movie that were not there before, and many fans were a little bit disappointed by. The first of which is almost a no-brainer, which is a tribute to the late and great Stan Lee. When my family went and saw Avengers Endgame in theaters, I can't deny that I was a little let down that they didn't do any form of cameo or tribute to him, considering how much of himself he poured into this work. I'd hate to imagine that this is something they just simply forgot about. However, I am happy to see they included it with the re-release. Another thing that was added that many fans were surprised weren't in the first release of the movie was a post-credits scene. Marvel pretty much set the bar for post-credits scenes, and it's always been something that most fans look forward to with each release of a movie. When Endgame came out in theaters, it was a little bit of a different story, however, as they did not have a post-credits scene, but rather paid homage to the legacy of Iron Man with the crashing of the hammer when he was building his first Iron Man suit. I thought this was a pretty suiting end to the movie considering Iron Man's greatest sacrifice. However, again, I can't deny that I was a little let down by the fact that they didn't give some form of sneak peek into the future of the MCU. Now, the post-credits scene they ended up including in the movie did not give an indication of what's to come in the MCU. Truly. Though it did give a bit of an indication as to what happened during that 5-year time jump in the movie, as it was shown that Professor Hulk was very busy being a hero, saving people's lives. Now, how I think this possibly could be a hint to the future of the MCU is in the tie-in to the upcoming Black Widow movie, which perfectly segues into the next thing I'd like to discuss. There have been tons of images floating around lately from shooting on set, and what has been seen is really surprising a lot of fans, as many people speculated and fully believed this movie was going to take place at the very beginning of her story, though that's not entirely the case, as the photos that we've seen seem to take place in a more modern era. As some have speculated, and I kind of believe at this point, this very well could indicate that this movie takes place in that 5-year time jump in Endgame, giving us a bit of a clearer picture as to exactly what Natasha was up to in the events after the snap, while many of the other Avengers were simply trying to move on. This really could help to give a bit more of a closure to her story arc and really help set up why that ultimate sacrifice she made was so important to her. And as I alluded to at the beginning of my video, it pretty much has been guaranteed that this movie will be released in May of 2020. Guys, that's going to be it for my discussion of the news that intrigued me this past week. I thoroughly hope that you enjoyed this content today, and I look forward to you leaving a comment down below of how you feel about these stories. Thank you so much for watching. And until next time, this is Professor Noki signing out for the News with Noki on Noki Talks.